there, Kimberly here from Indra Holistic Health. I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner specializing in gut health. If you're someone who struggles with slow or sluggish digestion, where you experience constipation, heaviness after meals, maybe you gain weight easily, you might have excess mucus congestion, and potentially even just a tired, lethargic sense that follows you around all day. If any of this is you, I've been there too. Today, I'm sharing about my story with Ayurveda and how it helped me uncover a deeper pattern that explained why all my symptoms were happening and helped me to alleviate it. I want to share the signs and symptoms that go along with this pattern most commonly to see if maybe you have it too. At the end of this video, I'll share 2 ways that you can take the next step. One, to just gain greater clarity, and the second, to get personalized support. So constipation plagued me throughout my childhood. I don't ever remember a time when I wasn't constipated as a kid. I had to take laxatives every 3 days if I didn't have a bowel movement. And I gradually grew to just hate eating because I didn't like how it made me feel and it felt so troublesome and unpredictable. I also struggled with chronic sinus issues. I didn't breathe out of my nose until I was in my 20s, believe it or not. And I would get daily headaches every day after school. Doctors thought that the headaches were maybe due to not getting enough protein. So they suggested I try eating peanut butter or a granola bar after school, which I did try, and it didn't help at all. So instead, I relied on Tylenol. I'm very sorry to my liver for all the Tylenol that I took in order to get relief from these headaches. I just had come to accept that this was my version of normal. Doctors couldn't really make sense of it. They couldn't tell me why it was happening. They just basically threw pills at individual symptoms to try to make them go away. And yeah, nothing seemed to really resolve the issue completely. And I just assumed that this would be something I would have to deal with my entire life by using medications like this. And then in my early 20s, I met a friend whose grandfather was an Ayurvedic doctor in India. And he helped me uncover a pattern behind all of my symptoms that changed everything. It completely revolutionized my health. And Ayurveda has a name for this pattern of symptoms that I was experiencing. It's called Manda Agni, which basically translates to having a slow digestive fire. So your body doesn't process food or information or experiences as quickly as other bodies do. This isn't a life sentence. This is something you can totally work with and even resolve like I did. Some of the cardinal signs and symptoms of having this pattern of Manda Agni include constipation, heaviness after meals, feeling tired a lot of the time, low appetite, especially in the morning, mucus congestion, and even sometimes people have poor posture when they've got Manda Agni. I had this as a kid where they're kind of hunched over because they're not getting a lot of life force. They're not getting a lot of energy and prana in. And so their digestive fire is like this little flickering flame, and their posture sort of reflects this low energy that they struggle with. If you see yourself in any of these descriptions, welcome to the club. It's kind of like your digestion is half asleep all the time, but there are ways that we can wake it up. So what happens here is that there's this low digestive fire, and that low digestive fire doesn't process your food efficiently. You don't get all the energy and nourishment from your food that you should. And this undigested stuff that's left over circulates around your body. We call it ama. And it basically clogs up your system and makes everything a lot more sluggish. You have low energy, you have sluggish bowels, you feel heavy, you feel congested and tired. Now, we can't just pop pills or throw expensive probiotics at it and expect to feel better. This kind of pattern needs to be addressed at the root through diet and lifestyle. And that's exactly what I did to solve my digestive issues. So my symptoms weren't random, they were all connected, and I had habits that were aggravating him. So, for example, I was eating ice cream before bed almost every night as a kid. Ice cream is very cold and heavy, and I was eating it at night when digestive fire is even lower than it usually is. So, I was weakening my digestion even more. I was also eating at poor times. My meal timing was not ideal. I was eating foods that were quote unquote healthy, but they weren't healthy for me. They weren't ideal for my body type and my gut type. And so they were the opposite of what I needed. So I'm not going to share the exact protocol that I used because your protocol is going to be tailored to you. It's things are always highly individualized in Ayurveda. So what works for me isn't going to be exactly what works for you. But I will share the overall principles that I was using so that you can maybe understand how this approach works. First off, we look at the full context in Ayurveda. We don't just zero in on individualized symptoms and try to make those go away. We look at the big picture of what's happening and we try to uncover the pattern that's there. So, another big principle is that like increases like and opposites balance. So in my case, like I said, I was eating cold, heavy food when I already had a very weak digestive fire. And I was also taking antibiotics on a regular basis, wiping out all of the good bacteria that were in my gut. These things were further weakening my digestive fire. What I needed was opposite energy. I needed things that were light and warm to counterbalance this cold and heaviness that was going on in my body. I I also so that's kind of the starting point of where I began to make changes. And here's some of what I changed. I stopped eating cold foods, especially at night. I favored warm and supportive foods, foods that were ideal for my body type. I also started to pay attention to my hunger cues instead of snacking all day long or eating food whenever it was offered to me. I made some simple timing adjustments with my meals. And I also got a toolkit that of simple, easy remedies that I could use if I slipped up or at the first signs of imbalance. I could bring in these simple teas or herbs that would help get my body back on track right away when things were still easy to fix, easy to rebound from, before I was way out of whack and needed antibiotics or laxatives to help me to feel better. The results were amazing, nothing short of amazing. And this is why I practice and teach Ayurveda now, because I was so inspired at the profound healing that I experienced. I had more energy after eating. My bowel movements became regular. I had relief from the chronic sinus congestion that I struggled with. My headaches completely disappeared. And most importantly, I had a deep relationship with my body. That's another big part of what Ayurveda does is it teaches you how to really listen to and commune with your body, how to hear its subtle cues and know how to respond in a way that's going to be supportive, in a way that's going to support your health, overall resilience, and well-being. So I had these means of daily self-assessment, these ways I could check in with my body and understand what it was needing from me on any given day. And also ways of checking in on a moment to moment basis to see, was this thing that was being offered to me what I actually needed, or was it going to make me feel crappy? So if you've tried everything and it feels like nothing seems to help, maybe you just need a fresh perspective like I did. Manda Agni is a pattern, and a pattern that can be changed. So once you understand the pattern, it's very easy to support it and to shift things. And you don't have to, when you come into this kind of understanding, you don't have to feel like you're fighting your digestion. You can feel like you're actually partnering with it. So imagine what it would feel like to feel good after you eat, to feel energized and nourished after you eat, to have daily bowel movements, to alleviate congestion and headaches and other symptoms that weigh you down. Because in Ayurveda, we recognize that everything begins in the gut. And so when our gut health is poor, other things start to get tripped up too. We can experience joint pain. We can experience poor sleep. We can experience emotional troubles. So many things are tied back to what our gut is doing. And when we dial things in down in our gut, we experience relief in a lot of other ways as well. So, like I promised, there are a couple next steps that you can take. The first is to take my gut quiz. This will teach you as to what gut type you have. You can learn whether your digestion is slow, fast, or variable. And it'll also help you understand why your digestion behaves the way that it does. You can take that quiz at indraholistic.com/gut. I'll also link to it below in the description. Option 2 is to get personalized support through my 60-day personalized Ayurveda program. This is the kind of support that I had when I got relief from these issues. In this program, we'll dive deep into your specific health conditions and look at the whole picture of your life. We'll zero in on the context of why your issues are happening and get to the root cause and unravel it there. We'll uncover your unique pattern. And this is all done in a one-to-one format. So you have in-depth one-on-one consultations with me. And then once we understand the pattern and remove the root cause, we'll rebuild your digestion. You can learn more about this 60-day personalized Ayurveda program at indraholistic.com/offerings. And if you're someone who sometimes your digestion is slow, sometimes it's fast, you feel like you kind of move between the two and it's a little bit hard to pin down, you might have a different kind of pattern called Manda Agni. And I talk about that in my other video that I'm going to link right below in the description. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And thank you so much for being here. I'll see you again real soon.